Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quinton here, and in this tutorial I am going to talk to you guys about all different kinds of buttons that we're going to be able to use in HTML. Okay, so there's actually quite a few that we're going to have to get through, so I'm going to start off real quick with the first button, which is just a plain button that actually doesn't do anything until you use JavaScript or some sort of client-side scripting language to add some events to that button. Okay, in other words, make that button do something. So to add a button onto our web page, we add an input element, and I'm going to give that a type of button, and this will make sure that the tag over here is rendered out as a button. Then I'm also going to give this button a value, and the only reason I'm going to give this button a value is because the value determines what shows up on the button. So it is actually very different to all the other elements that we learned about in the past, whereas the value represents the like actual information that is stored in that element. Okay, with a button that isn't the case. With a button, whenever you're working with the value, this is going to be whatever is displayed back to the user on that specific button. So I'm going to just say I am a button, and now I'm going to have a button that says I am a button. Okay, and if I run this in Firefox, then I can see I've got a button over here that says I am a button, and when I click on it, absolutely nothing happens. Okay, so these are made more for JavaScript, and if you're using JavaScript and you want the user to be able to click on something and activate some sort of function or code, then they can go ahead and do that. But if the user isn't going to be clicking on anything, or if you're not going to be using client-side scripting languages, then this button is not really what you're looking for. Okay, the next button I'm going to show you guys is going to be the button that you click to upload a file, and it doesn't actually have a type of button. In fact, I should have probably given this its own tutorial, but it would be way too short, and I'm going to give this an input type of file, and this is going to render out as a button that we can click to upload a file. So I'm going to save this now and go back to Firefox and click refresh, and as you can see I have my second button over here, and next to that it says no file selected. And basically if I click browse, then I can just find something that I want to upload, and there we go, I can upload that file. And this is going to be kind of different because we're not really going to want to change the wording that appears here, so we're not going to work with the value or anything like that. But what you could do is work with the size, and you could make it longer than it should be. So a size of 50 would then just make the actual size of this space that the text can appear over here much longer. Okay, so in other words, if we had a really long file name, then these words over here would just extend for that size of 50. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that blank. We should probably add in break tags just for display purposes, make everything appear on a new line. And the next button I'm going to show you guys is also an input, and we're going to give that a type of submit. And to be honest, or we can to be honest, I was going to say we're going to have to add in the next button at the same time, but I'll work on that. Okay, so let's give this a value quickly of submit, and a submit button is the button that you click on to say, okay, I am finished filling in this form, I want to send the data back to the server. So that is what a submit button is for. And the next button that I want to add in here real quick is going to be a reset button. So just copy that and paste this, and a reset button actually resets the form. So I'm going to give this a value of reset, and we're going to take a look at these two buttons in just a moment, but there is something I'd like to do here. So let's click refresh. Right now there is no data to submit because we don't have any other form elements, and there's no form elements to reset either, so these two buttons aren't really going to do anything for us just yet, but let's go ahead and actually add some more elements onto our page. Okay, and I think we could probably just comment this button out. So, or actually I'm going to delete it, there's no point. Okay, so I'm just going to add a few more elements onto my page. So I'm going to pause the recording and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I did was I added in an input of type text where I'm asking the user for their name. I added an input type password where I'm asking the user for a password, and I added 3 checkboxes that don't actually do anything, but they just have numbers next to them, 1, 2, or 3, and the user could tick one of those options. But those aren't really important, which is why I did that off camera. And if we click refresh over here, you can see I now have my input elements and my actual checkboxes, and that's actually kind of annoying that I didn't put a break tag over here, so I just want to do that. Not that it changes much, but there we go, that appears on a new line. So let's take a look at what this submit and reset button do. So I'm going to fill in my name, and let's fill in a password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actually, and I'm going to tick some of those checkboxes, and we can maybe select a file over here, so pictures, and I don't know, we'll select a picture of a car. So there we go. We now have some data filled into our form, but now what happens when I click reset? Well, all of that data gets reset, so it gets deleted. The form appears as if it had never been filled in before. So that is what the reset button does. But if I fill some of this data back in again, so password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll tick some of these boxes, just select a file here again. When I click submit, you'll notice that the web page is actually going to refresh real quick. So let's click submit, and there we go. It's asking me if I want to save my password because Firefox does that. But what actually happened here was I sent all that data that was filled into this form back to this same page. So remember when I spoke to you guys about the action and the method? Well, that comes into play here, because whenever we click on that submit button, all that data gets sent back to whatever page was in our action. And because we left our action blank, all that information got sent back to this specific page. Now you might be asking, well, where is it? Well, because we sent that data through using the get method, we can actually see all that data. And if you take a look right up here in the top of my URL, or at the end of my URL, I now have a name. So it says name is equal to Quinton, and password is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, checker is equal to 1, and checker is equal to 2. So coincidentally, the name of my name happens to, or the name of my text input happens to be name. So you can see that when I filled in Quinton into this name, I sent through the name of name and the value of Quinton. And my password, well, the name of my password seems to be password, so that's correct, and I typed in the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I sent through a value or name of password and a value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's just basically how forms work. I know it's kind of been a little bit of a mystery up until now, up until we learned about the submit button. But I hope that clears everything up for you guys, and I hope you can finally see how forms work. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, or share this video. It's really going to help my channel grow, and I will see you guys next time.